So this will be the last part for this particular topic regarding the Gorosei and the Imosama. This will be the last part of my reaction, and this time again it will be I will be reacting on Job Review PH's content. The title of this one is Patindi ng Patindi ang mga kaganapan. Gorosei, full names and title reveal, One Piece 1086. So it's telling us that the events there are getting more and more exciting, so more engaging. So patindi na patindi, so everything is like getting more and more exciting or engaging or stimulating. So the scenes or the events leading to, you know, One Piece 1086, it is getting more and more interesting. Patindi na patindi. So it also reveals the full names of the Gorosei, the 5 elders, and their titles are also revealed in chapter 1086 spoiler. So we're gonna go ahead and play this video content by Jack Review, and then we will also be translating because this language is in the Filipino vernacular, so it's in the Filipino official language, and then we'll try to translate as much possible if we could, because you know I am not really I am not a native speaker of English, but I'll try my best to narrate this, to narrate on the English side of things, because Jack Review is doing this on Tagalog. So we're gonna go ahead and play this. Okay, so we're just going to adjust the volume. So he says that this is the chapter 1086 spoiler for One Piece, wherein the Gorosei are revealed to be, they have the title of warrior gods of the world government, representing the world nobles as well, the celestial dragons. So please do subscribe to his channel, Jack Review, and please also subscribe to my channel also. So these are the silhouettes of the Devil Fruit, Mythical Zone Devil Fruit transformations of these Gorosei. This one in the middle with that very ominous, very powerful, like overwhelming aura. So like as what Sabo had said, this aura of Imosama is hellish. So it's very, probably like you have this feeling of great evil in the in the vicinity, in the room, because that's how overwhelmingly evil Imosama's power, his aura. And then these 5 elders, this seems like the mustache of one of these Gorosei. I really do think that this one is Saturn, right? So Saturn, for me, Saturn has the in all of these Gorosei, for me, because it really makes sense that Jack Review, Inner Review, and all those people doing these reviews about the latest chapter of One Piece, I do feel that they are correct when it comes to their assessment, their perception that these 5 Gorosei are really yokai, because I do think that yokai really forms part of the Japanese culture. They are so indispensable to the Japanese culture. So they are part of the Japanese culture. So if they are that big of a part of the Japanese tradition culture, we know that because we often see, like, in the Japanese, if you are a lover of Japanese vlogs and you want to see these vlogs about Japan, their culture and tradition, the Japanese people really love representing, the nature, the environment, and the symbolic origination, or origination, the myths, the how Japan came to be, how these beautiful islands came to be, how these mountains came to be. They would try to explain that based from their, the knowledge that they've accumulated, that they've gathered from their, from their ancestors, and they're telling these future generations that they came from the yokai. So the yokai really, from Amaterasu, Susanoo, from all these folklore about, they are even part of the Japanese religion, like in the Shinto, right? So they are sacred. So these yokai are very important in the Japanese, and it really makes sense that these Gorosei are yokai, because these are the remaining final chapters of One Piece. So they should represent Japan as much as possible, because Wano Kuni is already that, it's like the feudal times of Japan, right? So here now, One Piece is almost at its closing curtains. So it makes sense to us fans of One Piece that all these traditions, these culture of Japan are represented in One Piece at the same time, because it really makes sense, right? So it's very important to the Japanese people, especially Oda. Oda is like a Japanese, a cultural icon for the Japanese. So he's now making moves to incorporate the traditions of Japan into his work. So like this one, I really guess that this is an Oni. So this Saturn guy is an Oni, but not an ordinary Oni, because like I've said, an Oni in Japan, it could have horns, but other times it may just have one horn in the forehead, or sometimes they don't even have horns, so they just have these really absurd eyebrows, like demonic eyebrows, like, and then their eyes are, they have these strange looking eyes, very devilish look on their eyes. So you could be an Oni without a horn. So you could either have a horn like this one, or you could just have one horn here on the forehead, or sometimes you may not even have horns in order to be an Oni. So, but then the Mazuko, these are really the superior, the more powerful types of devils in Japan. So the Mazuko, the tribes of the devils, they are still forms of Oni, but then they are the most powerful types of Oni, and they are often depicted with horns like this one. So I suppose that Jaeger-Seal Saturn is a mythical zone devil fruit, user of an Oni fruit, something like that. But then the model is a Mazuku, right? And this one, like I've said, this really looks like a boogeyman. I really just forgot the name of that boogeyman in the Japanese culture. It's like, that boogeyman also is a giant, and he roams around at night, scaring people to death because of his appearance. So this yokai is a really powerful yokai in terms of physical strength, because he's so huge. So, and we just saw how huge this creature is. So like, it's really huge, like coming down the stairways and then all crawling, so boogeyman like, those are boogeyman-y stuff that he's doing, crawling, using his hands, so yeah, using his arms. So you don't do that, right? You walk upright if you're a normal person. So once you crawl, there's something weird about you going on. So then you're creeping people out. So you're like a boogeyman, but the Japanese version of the boogeyman. So there's a version of that boogeyman. He's actually a giant, but then he's really like a he's really a bona fide yokai and then all powerful. He's depicted as a really strong yokai, right? So, and this one right here, this one is which Gorosei is this one? This one is J. Garcia Saturn. This one is the blonde man. This one right here is Mahatma Gandhi, the samurai wielding Gorosei, right? So this one right here is samurai wielding Gorosei. Now to me, this one is it really looks like a Soul Reaper. I couldn't think of anything closer in looks than that of a Shinigami. So I really think could be wrong. I could be wrong in all of these, but for me, in my assessment, this could be something like a Soul Reaper, a Green Reaper, or a Shinigami in Japanese. Still a yokai, a part of the yokai culture, yokai tradition, yokai literature. So yeah, so I really think so. And this one is the Tengu. So there's no really other prominent bird-like figure in the yokai system of Japan except for the Tengu. So I really think that this is a Tengu. And you know, I really think this last part right here, this is that very tall guy, right, with the mustache that's straight down low, you know, the very thin-looking guy and the tallest guy, the tallest Gorosei. But this one really it intrigues me as to the look on this Gorosei. This looks like a mustache too. Like it's a very it could be that there's another one here going here. So it looks like a very large overgrown mustache. So I think I may have seen this figure, if I could remember, in the film, probably in Spirited Away, or I may have seen this in, you know, the yokai, like a yokai book or a yokai a database for the yokai. I don't know. I really forgot, but it seems like I may have seen this or closer in looks, or very similar to these you know, to this picture or to this representation or to this appearance. But I'm sticking with my initial guess that this is a Baku because it has these trunks just like an elephant's. And then the Baku is a very powerful cryptid as well as a yokai in Japan that eats dreams. It really makes sense because, you know, the will of D, those people with D initials may have the D could really mean dreams, right? And this is the dream eater. It really makes sense. So this could be a Baku, but then if this is not a Baku, if this is really an overgrown mustache, and this looks like a weird looking yokai, just like a head. So and then there's this huge creepy, you know, mustache going on. I think I may have seen this, but I could not remember what the exact name, or I couldn't recall the name exactly. So, but for me, if you're talking about a very powerful mythical entity, I think the Baku is more appropriate for this one. So, anyways, let's proceed. He says that the Gorosei's names will be revealed, and then the title of these Gorosei are warrior gods. So their powers are really incredible. Yeah. So I do have to agree with what he says. Initially, most people would have really, you know, most people have overlooked these Gorosei. They have they have taken these Gorosei for granted just because they seem like some people would even compare this Gorosei to Spandam, just like Spandam is like the leader of the CP9 in terms of coordination skills and leadership skills, more of like the management style. Like he's not into, he's not having powers, incredible powers on his own. Like his power is not amplified by any devil fruit ability or his haki or anything like it. So, but he's more of on the leadership side, like on giving directives, like managing the people, managing the team of CP9 members. So he's more like that, but not this one. I have speculated it before a long time ago that these Gorosei, ever since they were introduced into the One Piece universe, I really think that they are these extremely entities, and they control and each one of them controls like an immensely strong devil fruit powers. Because it's very odd. You might have to think out of the box. Like you may have to wonder why they have to hold such high positions, and they have no intimidating powers on their own individually. So it's very abnormal for me. It's not reasonable. So I do think that they have qualities that makes them able to stand out as and get the positions that they are, because anybody could get their positions, right? But when they do have these powers, they can occupy the seat of their power by mere intimidation alone. Like they could intimidate anybody else. So who else would want to compete with these people if they have these overwhelming superpowers, right? So it doesn't make sense. Yeah, warrior gods. So ever since the beginning, I really think that these Gorosei are really extremely powerful. Yeah, this is Saint J. Garcia. Saturn is warrior god of scientific defense. So it says that Saturn, this one is Saturn, the name of a planet. Saint J. Garcia Saturn, the warrior god of scientific defense. That's the warrior god right there, Saturn. There, that's the official. That's the official introduction of Saint J. Garcia Saturn. Yeah, it really makes sense that he was going to Egghead, because just because he's the head of the scientific, the scientific division of the Gorosei. So he's in charge of that. So he's the god of scientific defense. So all the more reasonable that he's going to Egghead just because Vegapunk is there, and the Gorosei are having like the highest or the topmost priority in terms of command for the Seraphim. So, and he's bringing with him the Seraphim for Gecko Maria and I forgot the other one. Oh, it's Crocodile and Gecko Maria. So the Seraphim. So he is bringing them with him. Let's see about that. So this one, the youngest looking Gorosei, he has the epithet of the warrior god of agriculture, Saint Shepherd Jupiter. The Jupiter right there. I don't know if that was the given spelling, or it was really spelled that way, a blonde one. So we don't know, but still, it sounds like the planet Jupiter. So it says that this guy right here, his name is Saint Shepherd Jupiter, and he is the warrior god of agriculture. So he's also a god, warrior god. So from Saturn to Jupiter, 2 planets right there. So it really makes sense. I do agree about all those predictions that these Gorosei are planets. So, and then Sun God Luffy, Sun God Nika, is Luffy, and Luffy is the sun to which the planets rotate. So, to which the planets revolve around. So now we are connecting the dots. Here is the Mahatma Gandhi samurai, Gorosei, and then he has the title of Warrior God of Finance, Saint Ethan Baron, V Nasujuru. So V Nasujuru, bald guy with glasses. Again, it's Warrior God of Finance, so it's like in charge of the financing. So in charge of the finances. So Saint Ethan Baron, V Nasujuru. So Venus Juru, when you pronounce that Venus, so it's really like Venus Juru, so Venus. So he's the Venus guy, the planet Venus. Okay, yeah, Venus sounds like Venus, so it still makes sense that he's called Venus because it's Venus. Yeah, it does make sense that he has a Japanese name because he really looks like a samurai and he is depicted as a samurai. So he is in an attire of a samurai. So yeah, so it's in the Japanese form. This one right here, as I've said before, this one for me, in my own prediction, my own opinion, in my assessment of clues. So given clues, here his mustache is really weird. It's really huge and weird at the same time. It's even larger than his face. So for me, this guy is the most powerful, the strongest Gorosei. He is the second strongest for me, next to Imusama. And although there is a mention of the Holy Knights, I really don't think that the Holy Knights are on par or as powerful as these Gorosei, even though they are mentioned as special, because it was just lately that they were mentioned. So by the time that they are mentioned and their late reveal, we know that they are special in the One Piece world, but I really don't think that they are on the level of the Gorosei. So to be honest, I don't see them as they could be lower than the Gorosei. So they could be powerful, they could be really all powerful, but then I don't see them, I don't view them as having the powers equal to the Gorosei. They are below the Gorosei. So he's the warrior god of, the legal affairs. Saint Topman Valkyrie, big mustache guy. So Valkyrie. So what do we know? Oh, what do we know about Valkyrie? So Valkyrie is like, it sounds like Mercury, right? Valkyrie. It should have it may be pronounced Valkyrie, not Valkyrie. So Valkyrie. So it sounds like Mercury. He's correct about that. So the warrior god of environment, Saint Marcus Mars. Yeah, it really does. It sounds like Marcus Smart from the Boston Celtics. So yeah, warrior god of environment, Saint Marcus Mars. Really funny. Almost sounding like the name of a Boston Celtics player. So here it's very obvious because he has the name of Mars, planet Mars. So there we have it, the complete names and titles of these Gorosei. So here he says that Luffy is the sun god Nika. He is the sun, and thus Gorosei are the planets, and Imu-sama is the void, the empty space. But it's really weird to call Imu-sama space or not. Void. I don't. It's more appropriately. It should be more appropriate if you call him nothingness, but to call him like the empty space. Space is not empty, right? So, if you look into space, there are lots of stars, there are lots of planets, there's stuff on the space but they are so far away. Even though they are so far away, we can see them, right? So we know that they are there. So it's not nothing. So the space is not empty. So the more appropriate epithet would be nothingness. Emptiness, but not empty space. No, I don't think so. Space is not empty. It has lots of stuff in space. Probably, black hole. More appropriately, black hole or dark matter, but not space. Space has lots in it. Like there are planets, there are stars, there are asteroids, there are, lots of stuff. So it was also revealed in this chapter, the leak provider of the One Piece spoiler has stated that the speculated weapon used by Imu-sama as he bombarded Lucia Kingdom into nothing, into virtually nothing. So he erased Lucia Kingdom, not through the ancient weapons, not by any means, of the old weapons used, like the ancient weapons. No, it's not. He used the technology that was invented by Vegapunk to erase Lucia Kingdom. So that beams of light, that 16 beams of light coming from the skies, and then literally destroyed, erased Lucia Kingdom from existence, is an invention of Vegapunk. So yeah. So I was saying that probably the weapon used by Vegapunk is just a replication. It's just, it was just copied from the Void Century. It was possible. It is really possible because we saw what happened in the Egghead arc, in the Egghead Island. Like Vegapunk was trying to copy or to. It's like he was, the Void Century was having these prototypes, and then Vegapunk would like to replicate what was done in the Void Century. That robot that was displayed there in the Egghead, in Egghead, he wants to invent something like that. He wants to make a copy of that robot. And then the technology of the Void Century is so advanced, so he was like saying that the futuristic view or the futuristic concept of Egghead itself is copied from the Void Century, which is the scientific genius of that Void Century is so advanced. It's like instead of going to the future, it's going back, right? Going back to the past in order to recover the scientific genius of that Void Century. Yeah, that's right. He's right about that. So, yep, Lucia Kingdom was erased by that weapon that was invented by Vegapunk himself. So, Yeah. So that weapon really is super destructive. Like it's like an atomic bomb, or way beyond, because an atomic bomb can't destroy an entire island. So, but that one, it just literally obliterated an entire island. So it's even stronger than an atomic bomb. Yep. Yeah, he was basically telling that what we really don't know what happened in the past, why Imusama rose to the ranks or rose to power, because we all know that these five elders are extremely powerful. So how did Imusama attain the level that he has now, and doesn't have to compete with his Gorosei? Because when we talk about the organization of the world government, supposedly there should be no one that's reigning over, all these nations. There is nobody. But Imusama he seized power, right? He got the power. He took the seat of power. So we don't know exactly what happened, but to to control this Gorosei, you have to be really extremely powerful, which means Imusama might be holding, like he may be possessing an incredibly strong power, like probably the most potent power we will ever see in One Piece. So, but it is still for us to know later on what that will be. We will just be waiting for that reveal in the as the series progresses, because we are really on this final stages of One Piece. So the One Piece story is close to its end. So it's not gonna be that long till we see that. And then here, uh, the God's Knights or the Holy Knights. It was mentioned. There was a brief mention about the Holy Knights. Here, in this chapter, okay. Okay, so here in this chapter 1086, it was said that Saint Mustard was sentenced to death. So he was sentenced to die by the Holy Knights. Mhm. So, Figarland family. So it was revealed in this chapter that the leader of the Holy Knights was a member of the Figarland family, and it was also said that he really looks like Shanks. It might shock people, the resemblance. There was a speculation that this may be an older brother of Shanks, or an older or younger brother. He may even be the twin brother, the twin brother of Shanks. It is possible, because it was often said there in One Piece. It really boggles my mind to even remember. Every time Shanks appears, like when he ended the war at Marineford, I could clearly remember what Sengoku had said to Shanks when Shanks was trying to open up his words and tell everybody that he wants to stop the war. And then Sengoku said, and then he qualified what he said. The qualification was that he was saying this only because it's you, right? So Sengoku said, Shanks, we will, we will do as you say. We will obey. We will listen to you. We will obey, or we will do as you say, only because it's you. Why does he have to say, only because it's you, right? It's really questionable. It's mind-boggling. Um, and that happened again. When Shanks. I don't know if Shanks. If it was really Shanks, because he infiltrated Marijua. Like, the infiltration word might not be appropriate for that. He may have gained some sort of confidential access. Like, he may have a secret access to the Pangea Castle in Marijua, right? Because he had the chance and opportunity to have a meeting with the Gorosei, and then when he told the Gorosei that blah 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 blah, so this is what I propose, this is what I will say, and then the Gorosei just literally said, "Why are you here? What are you doing here?" And then so Shanks just told him that, "I want to talk to you about a certain parrot, blah blah blah." And then the Gorosei again, I've seen this, in the in the captions, and literally heard that the Gorosei said that, um, only because it's you. So we are entertaining you. We are entertaining your request for a chat or a conversation only because it's you. So we will listen to you. Only because it's you. So again, it's mind-boggling. It's hard to understand, or it may tickle your mind a little bit, may tickle your imagination. What's going on here? So, um, yeah. So there's something in there. Like when the Gorosei said, "Only because it's you, Shanks." So the question now is, was that really Shanks? Was that his twin brother, or did Shanks give give commands to his twin brother to do this in behalf of myself? So we don't know, right? We don't know for certain what's going on. So he might have directed his brother to do some crazy things as if he was representing himself. So we don't know for sure. Okay, the Figarland family was the family tree, like the roots of red-haired Shanks. So it says here that the leader of that Holy Knights closely resembles Shanks. Yep. So it may really be, it may not be even Shanks. It may be his twin brother, like that guy from the Holy Knights, their leader, coming from the Figarland family. I don't know if they also have the same weapon, because it seems to me that that was the the weapon of Shanks, right? The sword of Shanks. So they are twin brothers. They also have the same weapon. They have the same weapon of choice. So, anyways, that's all. The sad news about this one is that there are two sad news here. The first one is, Saint Mosjard was sentenced to death by the Holy Knights, and then there will be a 1 month break for One Piece. So it will be, 1 month is just a short period of time, but when you are great fans of one thing, so, and then it really makes you happy that from time to time there is, on a weekly basis, there is a new update. 1 month seems like such a long time, right? So you try to wait when you are anticipating something. So 1 month even though it's really a short period of time, it will feel like it's very excruciatingly long for us fans of One Piece to wait for a new release. So it's really heart rending. So yeah, no, it's really I feel like I am heartbroken with that. So anyways, we can still wait, and then we just hope that Ichiro Oda is feeling well all the time. His body is in good condition. He doesn't um, get caught in situations where he will feel sick. So we do hope that he is always healthy, and we are very thankful for Ichiro Oda. Ichiro Oda is one of the most brilliant minds in our modern era now, and he is one of the heroes of the Japanese country, the Japanese people. So he's representing Japan in the broadest audience possible. So really great guy, really cool dude, really brilliant, really one of the most brilliant minds in today's in this modern era. So that's all, guys. We just finished this one. Again, thank you very much, and hope to catch you on my next video upload. Thank you very much, and if you have the time, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Bye bye.